right, we're moving on to something a little bit more lighthearted. Kind of interesting, but lighthearted. So apparently it's really interesting that, you know, Joe Biden, Bill Clinton, and Barack Obama actually just had this huge fundraiser in New York City at Radio City Music Hall. And apparently they raised millions of dollars, I think over $20 million for Joe Biden's campaign. Joe Biden's doing so poorly, he had to bring in 2 other warmongers to help him out. But one of the artists that actually was performing at that event was Lizzo. And I bring this up because in a shocking turn of events, it appears that after that event, Lizzo has decided to announce that she is quitting music. So Joe Biden, I don't know what you did, but it says here, this is actually DNC chair Jamie Harrison. And he posted here, Lizzo rocking the house. We're not going to play the music, but this was her here at the Joe Biden fundraiser. It wasn't just her. He also had Queen Latifah was also present at this event. So it looked like she was having a good time, right? Okay. At least that's what it looked like there. But apparently over the weekend, something happened. Something happened. And Lizzo made an announcement that she has decided to quit. Let's go ahead and get into this scoop here.
It's time for the scoop. Singer Lizzo took to Instagram to declare, quote, "I quit," following online criticism. And that's not all. Remember Gypsy Rose Blanchard? Well, she announced she is separating from her husband. That's right. It is time now for some of the biggest stories in entertainment. Let's bring in our News Nation entertainment expert to break down the best headlines. Paula Frolic is here with the scoop. Caitlin Becker joining us as well. Great to see you, ladies. Let's start with Lizzo. She said she's quitting in an Instagram post.
Well, you know, she's had an interesting week. And I wrote basically that the DNC had hired her for their big 3 presidents event. And I said, you know, it's kind of a weird little look. We talked about it last week.
Definitely.
I said, it's a weird look. You know, she's being sued for sexual harassment and discrimination.
Pause. So there's the piece that I think some people may not have been aware of, or maybe they may have forgotten. Don't forget, she's already facing a lawsuit for sexual harassment. So, of course, Joe Biden would invite someone. Jesus Christ. Joe Biden himself, who also is accused of sexual assault by Tara Reid. Of course, he would invite someone who is actually facing a sexual harassment lawsuit right now. That's who he invited, and they paid her, right? Not the best choice. And I don't think that was a good choice for her, but let's finish this here.
Termination. And she's performing for a guy who used to be known as the horn dog in chief. It's a weird look. And then the women who are suing her, their lawyer called me and said it was shameful that the DMC would hire her and that they're going to regret it, and that history was holding receipts and everyone's going to be just ashamed that they took a part of this. And then a day later, she goes, "I quit." And she basically said she's being bullied. And my issue that I have with that, and you see this quite a lot in Hollywood, is that people who bully others, then when they themselves, they can't take the heat, so they get out of the kitchen, but then they leave and say, well, I was bullied. So it's really gaslighting the women who are suing her. And also note, she has paid off 14 other women for other claims.
Am I crazy?
So,
I feel like Lizzo quit before.
Yeah.
So
it's kind of like a Selena Gomez thing. She comes and goes on social media.
Selena Gomez does it for her mental health, but I feel like this is not the first time that Lizzo has been like, this is too much for me, I quit, and then takes a little break and comes back. So I'm sure we'll see Lizzo again.
I think we'll see her again. What do you think, Paula?
I hope so. I mean, I like her music. It's just like, man, I don't know. Learn how to behave better. Be nicer to people. Come on.
Oof. Yeah. Lizzo can use some work in that department. Let me get into what she said, because this is interesting. Lizzo says she quits after lies against her. Again, this was just one day ago. I'll make this larger for the people in the back. In a post on Instagram, the US pop star wrote, "I'm starting to feel like the world doesn't want me in it." She did not clarify if this meant she was leaving the music industry or social media. "I'm getting tired of putting up with being dragged by everyone in my life and on the internet. Her post comes a day after a lawyer representing her former dancers criticized the decision to choose the pop star to headline a fundraising event amid accusations made against her last year. The dancers' allegations included sexual harassment and creating a hostile work environment, which Lizzo has denied. All I want is to make music and make people happy and help the world be a little better than how I found it. But I'm starting to feel like the world doesn't want me in it, she wrote on her social media posts. The Good as Hell singer, 35, said she was constantly up against lies, which she said were being told about her for clout and views. She added she felt she was the butt of the joke every single time because of how she looks and that her character was being picked apart by people who don't know her. I didn't sign up for this, she concluded. I quit. But you did sign up for it. When you become a celebrity, when you choose to enter the entertainment business, when you choose to become famous, you do sign up for that. You sign up for all of it. You know, things were different 20 years ago before social media was around, but it's even more difficult now that there's social media, because it used to be that celebrities would hear things about themselves rather on Entertainment Tonight or All Access or in the tabloids. But now, because of social media, they hear the criticism, you know, right on their phone, whether it's Facebook or Twitter, etc. But you do sign up for that, right? It goes on to say stars were quick to show support for Lizzo, commenting on her post. Reality TV star and entrepreneur Paris Hilton wrote, "We love you, Queen." Destiny Child singer LaToya Luckett added, "You are deeply loved." It's funny, they still call LaToya Luckett Destiny's Child singer because LaToya Luckett hasn't performed or sang with Destiny Child in years. They should say former Destiny's Child singer. Lizzo was known for celebrating her body and self-love, but has also spoken out in the past about hurtful online comments about her looks. In May last year, she said she had received a new wave of body shaming comments on X, formerly Twitter, that included speculation about her diet and whether she eats a lot of fast food. "Y'all don't know how close I be to giving up on everyone and quitting," she wrote at the time. Last August, 3 of her former dancers sued Lizzo over claims of sexual harassment and creating a hostile work environment. And so we're going to get into that discussion as well, because this is all connected. Armchair Kami actually mentioned here, asking someone credibly accused of sexual harassment to headline your fundraiser is so on brand for Joe Biden. Yeah, exactly. So, and I argued this back then, you know, when this event was announced. Even if you were asked, like, I think Lizzo should have just said no, considering the fact that she does have that investigation going on right now. But also, like, as a musician, I don't think you should tie yourself to any politician. We remember when this happened. Remember when Diddy was out there saying vote, and probably not the best example to use nowadays. Kid Rock tied himself to Donald Trump, right? I don't think, as a musician, as an artist, I don't think you should tie yourself to a politician, because whatever that politician does, when they mess up, everybody's going to be looking at you like, oh, didn't you perform with this person or whatever? So I don't think she should have accepted that. But I also don't think Biden's administration should have reached out to her. But why did they? They reached out to Lizzo because they know that that's someone that is really beloved among a lot of younger people, right? And he's losing, or not really losing, but he's decreased with young voters in this country, right? We can see that from the polls. He's decreased with young voters, Black voters, Latino voters. So that's why you would go get someone like Lizzo, who is popular and trendy with the young kids. You could have gotten someone else, though. But I want to show you what her dancers were actually claiming at that point in time, because this is still ongoing.
Well, just moments ago, Lizzo broke her silence on the lawsuit filed against her by 3 of her former dancers who claim they were subjected to a hostile work environment and harassment. The complaint also naming her production company and the captain of her dance team. And it says that the dancers were, quote, exposed to an overtly sexual atmosphere that permeated their workplace, which included outings where nudity and sexuality were a focal point. The suit also alleges, among other things, that Lizzo called out one of the plaintiffs for her weight gain after accusing the dancer of not being committed to her role. Lizzo is known, of course, for her uplifting messages and advocacy for body positivity.
I'm not going to be able to please everybody with my outward appearance. Someone's always going to have a critique. Someone's always going to have some negativity to say about me. So all that matters is what I think about it.
Now, after what had been a notably lengthy silence this morning, Lizzo responded to the lawsuit on Instagram, writing, in part, "The sensationalized stories are coming from former employees who have already publicly admitted that they were told their behavior on tour was inappropriate and unprofessional. I take my music and my performances seriously because at the end of the day, I only want to put out the best art that represents me and my fans. With passion comes hard work and high standards." Joining us now are the three dancers, Crystal Williams, Ariana Davis, and Noel Rodriguez, along with their attorney, Ron Zambrano. Crystal, I want to start with you. The response that you have to the response from Lizzo after the silence for a pretty extended period of time.
Yeah, I want to say that reading it just kind of furthered my like disappointment in regards to the situation, just because the facts are the facts. What we experienced and what we witnessed is absolutely what happened. There's nothing sensationalized about it. So all that I can hope is that people focus more so on the facts rather than the court of public opinion.
Ariana, at what point did you realize that what you were experiencing, what you experienced, was not normal?
It's hard to answer that question because as this was my first professional job, I was told by the dance captain and, just it's this thing in the dance industry that you have to, shut up and, take whatever you get and just be grateful for whatever
you get. Mike, I want to ask you about this question. You said Lizzo burned so many bridges here in MPLS. What do you mean by that? Eric, if you see Mike HW's response to this come through, can you star that comment? I'm just curious what he means by that you take whatever is given to you. I do have friends that have been dancers that have been a part of the entertainment industry, and they said it's very hard to get those dancing positions. They're also not paid much. Sometimes you go to a concert and you see like Beyonce's backup dancers or whoever you're going to see at that point in time. And you think that just because they're on the stage with someone who's like a billionaire, that they're making pretty good money. But those dancers are paid crap. They don't make as much as you would think they do. And it's a short-lived career. I mean, like, they want you to be young. And once you get to be a certain age, then they're just kind of like, no. MPLS equals, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Okay, interesting. She burned bridges there? Interesting. I'll let her finish though. Sorry.
For crumbs you get as a dancer. So a lot of things that were going on, it took me a really long time to figure out that it was wrong. It took me actually until leaving the camp that I figured out that everything that went on was bad, because I just chalked it up to, Lizzo might be a diva, or, this is just the industry. This is what we go through. I mean, I think that I had inklings, like I would be on the phone with my mom all day and be like just complaining about the disrespect and the treatment and the humiliation. I mean, me personally, looking at the response from Lizzo was so disheartening, because she was there. She was there. And to fix your hand to write on a piece of paper that you that you discredit everything we're saying is incredibly frustrating. The facts are the facts, like Crystal said. Was I pressured to touch a new performer? Yes. Was I brought into a private meeting where I was kind of interrogated about my personal matters and ended up having to share very personal things about myself regarding my weight? Yes. The list goes on. Were we pressured to do an excruciatingly long rehearsal that turned into a re-audition for the job that we already booked because apparently we weren't doing good enough? Yes.
So she's saying yes, but she mentioned something about her weight. Cherie said all dancers, I think you mean dancers, have to keep a certain weight. Even Beyonce has rules. Yeah, it's interesting. Some of the things that she's saying, I kind of feel like that is part of the industry. Even the part where she said it felt like they were re-auditioning. I've heard about that happening before. So I don't know.
Yes, that is true. During that excruciatingly long re-audition process, was I under the impression that if I left the stage, I would be fired? Yes. Did I unfortunately go to the bathroom on myself on one stage because I was so terrified? Yes.
Okay, that part's not the norm. Sorry. That part right there, people using the bathroom. I never heard about that. Never heard about that.
You in a court of law, I don't know, I'm not a lawyer, I don't know anything, but I know that if you ask someone to tell the truth, these things will come out of her mouth. If you have to say yes or no to these questions, she has to say yes because they are true. There was multiple witnesses, and I don't appreciate the discredit of our feelings and our experiences and our traumas.
Okay, so those are some of the dancers that actually filed that lawsuit against Lizzo. Really interesting, man. Like, I don't think they're protected in the entertainment industry. Maybe they need to unionize. I don't think they have one. The Oracle brought up a really good point here, but why is that wearing very revealing clothing construed to be a celebration of oneself? You can have a great self-concept as a big person and be fully dressed. That is true. I guess Lizzo kind of feels like, she feels that she can wear those things as well. But yeah, I see your point. Mike HW said, have lots of friends that are musicians here in MPLS. So many stories of Lizzo backstabbing, clawing her way to the top, treating people like shit. Yeah. That is not uncommon. I hear you there. Tim says, well, the DNC is all a bunch of old people who are behind the times and probably still think she's some sort of progressive figure. That's a good point. Oh, man, you guys are rolling in tonight. Lee says, Sabby Sabs, you've been a courageous and tremendous voice in your commitment to truth and historical facts. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Lee. And shout out to Lee for being a member for 7 months. Thank you, Leprechaun. This is a manipulative technique with malignant narcissists where they poke and the poke and the poke. Oh, you mean they? And they poke and they poke at their target until their target snaps and then cries abuse. Interesting. Thank you for this super chat, Lee. Wow, thank you a lot. Sabby Sabs, you've been a courageous and tremendous voice in your commitment to truth and historical facts. Keep up the good work. Thank you. Thank you, Sparky. Love you, Sabby. Happy Easter. You're the bestest girl ever. Thank you. Zed says, you rock, Sabby. Wow, I love your news. Truth, good on you. Thank you. You guys are being really nice and friendly today. Usually people cussing me out a couple times. Thank you, Snort. Come on. At least Obama did not ask her to go swim. Interesting. Well, it's just, I'll get the comment on Rockfin in just a second, Eric, but this is a doozy, I really liked Lizzo's songs. I thought they were kind of fun, and she was like, what's the song about the men? Why men great? Because they gotta be great, or when they want to be great, something like that. I thought those songs were kind of fun, but seems like Lizzo needs to take a break. And sometimes those things need to happen.